Good afternoon, everyone. This is Prem with Bitcoin Magazine. I'm here today in the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Dubai, where we are at the Alternative Investment Summit. With me, I have the Director of Enterprises of Consensys, Jan. Jan, welcome to Dubai. Well, you guys are basically based out of Dubai as well. You have an office out up here in D3, am I correct?
Yes, we have 30 people in Dubai in Design District. So we are here. We've been here for over 2 years.
Fantastic. Well, Consensys, big Ethereum house. Things are on based on Ethereum are going towards the next level. We've seen out of the Prague conference, DEFCON 4, Vitalik has come on stage and talked about the biggest issues. One of them is scalability, where they're going to work on. But before we enter into that, I would like to just get a view on what is going on basically in this world today. 5 years back, if you look at the top 5 companies in the world, we were having banks and oil companies basically in the top 5. If you look today, we have the top 5 companies are Google, Amazon, Facebook. These are all basically big data companies. And the problem, for example, with Google, because I have a Gmail account, they know exactly what I'm doing, where I'm traveling, which hotel I'm staying, and most probably a lot of things else within the data they can look at. These companies became big because of big data. Now, the biggest problem is this: it's so easy. If I go to a website, I put in my password, Google asks me, do I want to save this? And obviously, like me, millions of other people say, yes, save it for me, because it's so easy next time I go to this website, how it's going to be easy to interact with. Now, the question is basically, if we look maybe in some years' time when security becomes a bigger issue, blockchain might be a solution to this pain. How do you look at this?
I like to get excited about what blockchain can do today. And some of the things that it can do today are stable coins, security tokens, identity, things like token curated registries. There are a number of projects that basically you can do today already and that don't necessarily yet need to challenge the biggest market players. So measuring our steps is something that's probably a good idea. Turning the tables on Google or turning the tables on Facebook is something that will eventually come for blockchain. But it will happen when it's ready, and we will know it when it's ready. So this is something that I'm patiently awaiting, but in the meantime, there's just so much exciting stuff that it's hard to even think about that so far into the future.
I totally get it. I mean, usually people change because of 2 reasons: pain or pleasure. And in the short term, I don't see anything happening which will get people more aware, basically, about how big of an issue security is, or why are these services of Google all free, basically? Because in the end, we are paying for it, right?
Right, we are paying for it, and we will need to build platforms that will allow us and our suppliers or customers to keep on paying for these services, because these things aren't free. We need to pay for this somehow, whether it's advertising or us paying for it directly through subscriptions. So that will come, and that's something that's the biggest moat around these data companies, because they provide their services supposedly for free. And that's going to have to be challenged also on a very similar price point, at least from our perception perspective. So that's going to take a little while. But before that happens, a lot of other things are going to happen. And that's I think, enough to be excited about.
Yeah, so in our reports for 2019, we did indeed talk about STOs being a big trend which we're seeing. But the second thing also, stable coins, which we are seeing. We're having next to Tether nowadays, through USD, USDC, etc., all these stable coins coming in. How is Consensys, adapting or looking at this new trends basically for 2019?
Well, we're building markets. This is what we do. And markets have two sides. They have buyers and they have sellers, and there needs to be a medium of exchange. So coins and tokens are something that we look at very closely. On one hand, you have tokens that represent value or assets. On the other hand, you need to have a form of payment. And with stable coins coming around, you start finally being able to have a relatively, on one side of the transaction where the money's coming from, you're able to have a stable measure of value that's going to be the opposing side of the transaction to settle it. Beforehand, people were very reluctant to do smart contracts that do financial transactions for asset purchases, for example, because the currency that we were getting paid in was fluctuating in value, so it was hard to trust that you're going to get a good deal for either side. Is the value of that payment going to be higher or lower tomorrow? We didn't know. So with a stable coin, that becomes much more practical. The technology was there last year, but this year, the technology is there and the medium is there as well, the medium of exchange. So that's going to be exciting.
Right, fantastic. Here in the region, in the MENA region, in the Middle East, well, you guys are really taking up a big job, according to me, as it comes to educating people on blockchain. There are a lot of things also happening on, as I call it, the university side of things. What are your perspectives, basically, on the growth of and adoption of blockchain in the coming period?
We think that in an innovative space, the exciting moves are made by people who are educated and by people who aggregate to form ecosystems and communities. So we do have programs for educating developers and educating managers and educating economists. We have Consensys Academy, which is a program of online courses on how to work with Ethereum. We're building an educational platform here called Smart City Academy that's going to serve up courses. We're sponsoring 1 million Arab coders, which just turned 1. We are holding hackathons. We just had one in Lebanon. That was very successful with refugees participating in this hackathon. So we're giving access to this knowledge to people who would otherwise maybe not have this access. And we're also doing bespoke trainings for anybody who needs them. So we're doing that quite a bit, and there's a lot of demand. A lot of people want to learn, and they're still extremely excited, even at this time of the year. After everything that happened this year, the excitement isn't lower, which is really, really interesting.
Well, I wish you guys all the best at Consensys. I'm really actually very grateful that you guys are here in the space to educate us, and I hope to speak to you soon again, Jan.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.